whatever you believe in, God, Guru, having a very strong faith with a good intention in your heart. Whenever you feel complete, you may open your eyes.
So with so many amazing benefits of mindfulness, let's understand from the practitioners themselves that what is their experience. So let's start with Abhyuday. What is your experience with mindfulness?
So talking about mindfulness, to express too much in too few words, it actually brings me back to life.
Amazing, that's really deep. Okay, so Basharat, what is your experience with mindfulness?
Okay, according to me, mindfulness means that you have to make sure that you calm yourself and you have to concentrate basically. But then when I attended Shashank's mindfulness sessions, I really I could actually start concentrating and my stress level had gone down. So this was a very positive effect because of his sessions.
Amazing.
So I really would want to practice mindfulness more.
Amazing. What about you, Priyanka?
The first thing that I really respect about meditation is being a trainer, always talking, and you get to experience silence is bliss. So that's one thing that I really like. And the second thing is experiences of life become more meaningful and relevant. So that's another thing I completely enjoy about the training sessions with Shashank.
That's great. So I also want to share my experience with attending Shashank sir's mindfulness sessions. Specifically, you go into a very different zone, even if you have a lot of thoughts that are going on in your mind. So those 5 minutes and 10 minutes, you get to relax and you get to just accept your thoughts, not just fight your thoughts, but just accept them and not label them as good or bad. And that really makes a difference because then those thoughts don't really affect you. So you actually can move ahead with whatever agenda you have. So my name is Gurpreet Singh. I'm a life coach and welcome to my channel. And we have a very special guest, Shashank Ravi Agrawal, who is a trainer by profession and also a mindfulness practitioner and a teacher. So we'll learn more about mindfulness, lot of frequently asked questions about mindfulness, and I think Shashank will be very happy to answer them. Welcome Shashank to the channel.
Thank you so much, Gurpreet. Hello everyone.
Great. So Shashank, let's start the question answer session with you. Okay. So my first question I want to ask you is that usually when we hear the word mindfulness, okay, our mind is already full with thoughts. Okay. Isn't the name very contradictory? Okay. Another name for mindfulness or a meditation would be to empty your mind. Why is this term called mindfulness, and what exactly is the meaning of mindfulness?
So basically we have been hearing the word mindfulness and mindfulness.
Yes.
So like there is a question called as I don't know. See, many a times when you are in wonder, you say, hey, I don't know. And when you are very irritated, you say, I don't know, just stay away from me for a while, right? So the journey from a miserable I don't know to I don't know, how does this happen? That is exactly where this word originated. Mindfulness, which is mind full of thoughts, full of emotions, full of feelings, to mindfulness, which is light, new and fresh.
Okay, so from your answer I assume that the difference between mindfulness and the mindfulness is actually with the acceptance part that we have. So whatever is going on in our mind, outside external factors, internal factors, we are not fighting with those factors, but ultimately we are accepting them.
Absolutely. Many a times the problem that people have is we try to change the situation without accepting that there is a problem. Many a times we try to avoid. For example, let's say tomorrow if XYZ person gets a health issue, what is the first reaction? Hey, the doctor is wrong. I know I'm okay. So we generally try to avoid the problem. The magic is to first accept the problem and then address it. This is how even mindfulness works.
Amazing. Okay.
Okay, so I also wanted to add something when Shashank said about emotions. So there were a lot of in lot of people's life. What happens is a lot of emotions, and they face a lot of tragedies, or a lot of situations in their life which they cannot overcome. And same happened with me as well. There was a lot of situations in my life which I couldn't get over of, and which was frequently affecting me in my work life as well. And because of his session, I could actually, when I attended his few sessions, initially I used to, it automatically I should just cry because I was not able to, overcome that particular situation because of my, overwhelming emotions. And through the part of the journey, by doing mindfulness continuously, I was able to kind of overcome those situations, and I was able to control those emotions, and I just I just vented out all my emotions, and now I'm kind of very stable, and my mental health has also increased a lot.
Amazing.
So thank you.
Amazing. So from your experience, I can make out that mindfulness has actually made you lighter.
Right,
and
that's correct.
Your self acceptance has improved.
Yes,
greatly.
yes.
Great.
So from avoidance to acceptance.
Amazing. So, switching my question from mindfulness to usually everyone these days talks about meditation, that you should meditate and give time to meditation. And the first problem that people who meditate or start meditating is that whenever I sit for meditation, there are a lot of thoughts, and I'm just constantly fighting with my thoughts, and I can't focus. Okay,
Right.
so they have been told that you need to concentrate, you need to focus, you need to be at a single point, you have to focus on your breath, but because of so many thoughts, the meditation practice actually never starts in their life. Okay, so how is mindfulness different from the conventional meditation?
So here Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar is also my guru, says a beautiful thing. He says meditation is not concentration, it is deconcentration. By that what he actually means is that when you sit and when you are asked to meditate, you have to let those thoughts just pass by and watch them like you are watching a movie. Rather than getting engaged in them, you have to just watch them like you are watching any movie. See, when you watch a movie, you are so engrossed in that movie, and then some faint memory remains, right? But you are not always thinking about the movie. Just like that, once you are in meditation, it's supposed to happen that you will get a lot of thoughts, because the pain can only be felt if you actually focus on the scratch. So all these thoughts are constantly coming to you in your entire day, but since you are so busy in your life, you are not able to focus on these thoughts. Once you accept and embrace these thoughts with the help of meditation and mindfulness, what happens is these thoughts simply leave you like a ripe fruit leaves the tree. Just like that, the thoughts also leave you.
Right. So you mean to say when compared to the conventional meditation technique, so this is not something which you have to do forcefully. It happens more of naturally, and it is a natural thing that happens to you. Mindfulness, right?
Mindfulness is, I would suggest, the first step towards conventional meditation.
Okay.
Because until and unless you are not empty with your thoughts, you will not be able to concentrate anyway. So the step number one is to first accept whatever thoughts are coming into your mind. And then after you are empty, after those thoughts have left you, after the tree has no fruits with them, then what happens? The tree is empty, right? And then having concentration is a cherry on. It's very simple. It just happens.
So amazingly answered, Shashank, sir. So my next question to you is that usually many people have this question that why should I meditate, or why should I be even inclined to mindfulness? Because usually we are so busy in our lives, and we are earning our livelihood, and we do not have time from our family life and all, but still we say that there is a lot of stress. Okay, and ultimately the only key to stress which everyone tells us is like it's mindfulness or it's meditation. Now there is one more concept of spirituality, and usually
I would like to stop you there.
Yes.
So to answer the question about being very busy in life, Gandhiji has said one very beautiful thing. He says that if you are very busy in life, meditate once. If you are too busy to meditate once, meditate twice. Because meditation and mindfulness brings out the skill in you. It brings out See, if you're calm and composed, then doing a task is much more easier. But if you're bounded with thoughts and deadlines and targets and whatnot, what happens is you are not able to focus on anything, right? Meditation calms you down, it relaxes your mind. So your focus, your concentration increases and the productivity is much faster.
Great.
So those people who say I'm too busy to meditate, my dears, this is the exact reason why you should meditate.
Okay, so I'll just summarize this by like the more ill you are, the more diseases you have, the more you require the doctor or the medication. So
Exactly.
similarly, we need to be inclined towards meditation. But my question specifically is going towards spirituality and people who are not spiritual or do not want to be spiritual. Ultimately, they find spirituality to be a boring concept. So they are like, why should I meditate? Because I don't want to be spiritual. So my question is meditation only for people who are seeking a spiritual upliftment in their life or spiritual growth, or is it for everyone? And how does it help everyone?
So these days when I interact with little children, this is what they say. अरे भैया बहुत tension है. And I wonder, hey, a little child also has tension, also has stress. Spirituality doesn't mean that you leave everything and you become with those mala and all. It's not that. Spirituality means live in the moment. Enjoy every moment. Just wait for a minute and see what are the thoughts you are carrying right now. What is the luggage you are carrying right now? I'll give you an example. Let's say you go to the gym and you hold a 5 kg weight, okay? And you keep holding it for the next 10 minutes. What will happen? Will your hand start shivering? Yes. And slowly you will drop it, right?
Right.
Imagine so much of burden you are carrying in your head. So spirituality isn't about just your attire or etc. It's a way of living. To empty your mind, to empty your thoughts and just be there in the moment and have fun in life.
So I want to add on something here, especially when it comes to the time factor. Initially, my approach was also like this, that I have so much of work, why should I spare additional 20-25 minutes towards something called as meditation? I don't even want to be spiritual. But let me tell you, those 10, 20, 25 minutes, they are not an expense. It is an investment that you are making. It is going to add 2 or 3 efficient hours to your day. So just keep this in mind. This is not an expense, or you're not wasting your time. You're actually making an investment towards efficiency and productivity.
Great. So ultimately, meditation or mindfulness is taking you one step ahead of your productivity, and it actually, when you invest, it's like an investment where you get way more return than you have invested. Like you invest 30 minutes and ultimately your entire day is more productive, and you save a lot of time. Great.
Absolutely.
So my next question, Shashank, will be that usually a lot of people have this concept in mind, that usually family members also, when you start meditating or when you start being spiritual or when you start this journey, and family members are like, okay, he's getting spiritual. So somewhere they have this feeling like maybe he will just go to the Himalayas maybe within 2-3 months, or maybe he will just lose interest in the regular life. Okay, so why does this fear come in specifically a parents, and why are not parents promoting meditation or helping their children being spiritual?
So here I have an answer, an exclamation. What if we tell you that there are more problems in the Himalayas? Then what will you do? So firstly, to those people who think that Himalayas is a solution, there is a very nice saying by Kabir. He says, कहीं पे भी जाओगे मन तो साथ ले जाओगे. Wherever you will go, you will carry the mind with you. It's not the outer space that creates problem for us, it's actually the inner space that we need to work upon. Okay? And when it comes to parents, spirituality again does not mean that you have to go to the Himalayas or your child will go to the... In fact, you see a lot of youngsters these days have so much of competition. Then we can see the suicide rates are increasing on a daily basis in a city like Mumbai, which is such a social city, right? In spite of that, there are so many suicide rates. So spirituality is not a luxury, it's the need of the hour. If the children will get into spirituality, if they will understand how to deal with stress, there is a high chance that they will not get into recreational drugs. They will not start taking up various habits which will be harmful for them in the future, especially on their health aspect. So I think spirituality should be made a part of life rather than thinking that just by doing that you will go away from the family.
Yes, amazing. So Shashank sir here has added specifically about addictions and substance abuse, which lot of youngsters are getting into. So I want to add a point here. Whenever you are into pleasures or seeking pleasures and temporarily or momentary pleasures, specifically related to drugs, so there is a chemical in the brain which is released that is called the dopamine. So every time your brain releases dopamine, next time it craves even for more dopamine, and that a small amount of drug will not be
Enough.
it not be enough to keep you high. So that is why people get into addiction. Now compare it with meditation, and researches and brain scans have shown that when you meditate, and people those who meditate, they have a hormone in the brain called serotonin, and serotonin is the hormone which is actually a component of all the antidepressants. So serotonin is a natural antidepressant which is in your brain, and it is called a general well-being hormone. So when you have serotonin, you are like smiling and happy, and you feel happier inside. But when it's dopamine, it's too much of jumpy energy, and I want to do this, I want to achieve this, and when you achieve, and then you are in the downfall, like similar to caffeine, when you are high and then there is a low. So that is why meditation in a way can provide you stability which you require in life, and the drugs and addictions will always keep you high and low. You smoke a cigarette or you have a drug and you feel high, you feel good, then there is a crash and again you need it. So that is also what I wanted to add, and I think Priyanka also would like to add something in this because she has been following stress management and taking workshops regarding this. Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, sure. So today we live in an era which is full of anxiety. We, as Gurpreet sir said here, we live in an era of addictive dopamine behavior. So gaming, for example, is an addiction that most of the youth is struggling with, not just alcohol. So meditation is one activity that helps us to connect with the present, the here and the now, not living in a super imaginative world of gaming, of achievements that gaming gives pleasure into. So I think meditation has really helped me individually to relate to the power of now. And another thing I would like to add on to the point of what we said about the culture. क्या कहेंगे लोग, हमेशा से रहा है रोग. So we are in various stages of life face a lot of criticism, lot of most of it we tend to take it negatively. So meditation helps you to reflect on the ideas of looking at yourself away from how people look at you. So I think this has been a very, very eye-opening experience and a great benefit as a part of my own soul journey when it comes to meditation.
So I would like to add one point over here. So basically, meditation has also helped me in terms of getting patience. Like, you know, I was a person, when somebody says something to me, I used to be like, okay, I have to back answer. Okay, I have to answer this. But then over the period of time, I have gained that patience. I have gained that sense of control onto myself. That okay, no problem. So whatever he or she is saying things to me, let it go. Okay, just listen to that person and leave it then and there, and don't take it in the brain, take it on your brain, and then keep thinking about it. So yeah, sense of patience is one of the things which I have gained due to meditation. So it is one of an really a good benefits which I wanted to share over here.
Right. There is an acronym called as DOSE: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So all these are indirectly or directly connected to a grey matter. It's called hippocampus.
Hippocampus.
So when you meditate, this grey matter starts increasing in your body, and it calms you down, and whatever release of dopamine, serotonin you get with all the other things that you do, meditation gives you another level of high. So if you really want that kind of a high, then meditation is the key point.
Great. So I wanted to add something about grey matter here specifically. It's like you living in that continuous reward system, and there has been a research which shows that people who have a higher amount of gray matter are more emotionally intelligent also, and with so many courses which are going on with emotional intelligence and all, I feel there is very little training can do on its own if the mind or the brain is not being trained. Okay, so external training is only possible only if the person is also training himself or herself internally. And when you are emotional intelligence, if you see the components of emotional intelligence are about self-awareness, people awareness and social awareness. So mindfulness, as it brings the awareness back to your senses, and when you are aware of your surroundings, of what is happening, not why it is happening, what is happening, and you are a clear spectator, you sit back, you relax before you react immediately. As Basharat rightly said that the reaction element has came down. That is also because more emotional intelligence and more understanding of the situation and seeing the larger picture, not just immediately getting snapped and reacting to the situation, but seeing the larger picture, that what does this situation hold for me, or what happens if I don't react, or if I say or not say anything.
So Gurpreet mentioned a very nice word called as EQ. You see, these days we have been hearing this very fancy term called as artificial intelligence. Everyone is scared that will machines take away my jobs. You see, many of the jobs are already being taken away. So many jobs are already replaced. But this EQ, it can never be replaced. A machine cannot feel the emotions. A machine cannot feel empathy.
Right.
A machine cannot feel people's emotions, people's management, etc.
Absolutely.
But machine is about logic, machine is about mathematics, etc. Right? So rather than considering artificial intelligence as a threat, we should consider it as a source to contribute more towards the world. See, when the calculator came, everybody was like, oh my god, what has it, like, what, it will reduce the capability of the mind. But you see, it has helped so many businesses, so many software. Similarly with computers, when computers came, everybody was so scared. So the magic of meditation is it brings that EQ in you, which will be the answer to artificial intelligence in the future.
Great. So if you want to be future proof and specifically not being overshadowed by machines, so I think emotional intelligence is the way to go, right?
Right.
So
Fully said, Shashank. I would like to add something here. In the world of robots, being human is what we need to learn. And the emotional quotient, that is empathy, compassion, understanding people better, being more patient, this is what makes us human. So I think that's a great learning here.
amazing. So with so many benefits already being discussed about mindfulness and meditation, so I have this next question in my mind, that how can one start meditating, or specifically being mindful on a daily basis? Okay, see, again, many people have this query that we do not have time to sit at a place, and I have heard and I have read this multiple times, that why it is different from a conventional system, that mindfulness need not require your specific dress code or specific time of the day or specific spot of the day. It's not required. So how can one start this journey towards mindfulness?
So when we were children, we wanted to learn ABCD. For that we needed a teacher. It's always preferable to start. See, you need someone to guide you. You need a mentor, you need a person who can handhold you in the process. So it's always good to find a teacher. These days there are apps which can be your teacher. There is an app called as Sattva. On Sattva you can find various meditations. There is Headspace. On that also you can find various meditations. For me personally, what has worked is the Art of Living and their programs, and I have been practicing their techniques. So my start was when I did their program for the very first time. That totally changed my life, because it was an easy to do thing, just with your breath, etc. So if you really want to start your journey on this path, get someone who can teach you.
Sure, and I would like to add a point over here that definitely, as Shashank mentioned, that you have to go to some teacher, and those of you who cannot go to a teacher and but want to practice want to practice meditation and mindfulness. So on an Islamic factor, I want to know to all the Muslims out here that you can definitely go ahead and listen to Surah Yasin, and you can just sit and meditate. Okay, so that we have a slow version of it. You can please listen and then you can meditate. So you don't have to specifically go somewhere, sit, and then learn. So definitely Art of Living is one of the best, which he's been following, and he has taught a lot of things to us as well. But to all the people out there who are Muslims, you can definitely listen to Surah Yasin and all the surahs. Thank you.
Amazing, Bashar. So it's like I get this glimpse of many different streams and rivers meet the same sea, and ultimately different pathways and different techniques, but ultimately the goal is similar. Okay, so coming to my next question about mindfulness. I have heard this term specifically, mindful eating and mindful walking and being mindful all the time throughout the day, not a specific time, but every time you are in the meditation zone, or every time you are meditating, or every time you are focused. So sometimes I feel this is contradictory. How will a person do his overall day-to-day work and office work and all of these things if he or she is meditating all the time? So what is the secret to been meditating all the time?
So if you meditate too much, then what happens is you become dull. Okay. Anything we overdo in life it's not good for your well-being. So by being mindful, nobody is asking you to meditate all the time. There is a Sanskrit term called as Swaddhi. Swaddhi means self-study. See, what we learned in this entire conversation was, it's always the inner peace, inner vulnerabilities on which we should focus. And when we talk about being aware or being mindful or Swadhyay, what we are trying to do is we are going to be aware of how we are reacting to various situations. Awareness does the job. Let's take an example. We all have seen the photo of Goddess Kali. When we see her photo, we are terrified. How can somebody be like that? But there is a small story attached to it. You see, as soon as she stepped on Lord Shiva, she realized her mistake, and that is how the tongue come out, right? Whenever we make mistakes, what happens? We do something like this, right? So that is something called as awareness. As soon as she realized her mistake, she stepped back and came back to her normal form. That is exactly what is mindfulness is. What being mindful is. You be mindful of what you are saying, right? You be mindful about how you are eating. There is a disease called as bulimia. What is bulimia? People are just eating and eating and eating without realizing that their stomach is full. And then they vomit and then they eat again. These type of disease are getting very common in the current world. So why is this? Because people are not being mindful. How much should we eat? Right? What are we eating? How are we eating? Where is the place? We should be mindful about that, aware about it. That is all what mindful means. Mindful doesn't mean that you have to sit in meditation all the time. You see, a 20-minute meditation gives you the energy to deal with lots of problems in the entire day. In fact, there's a study that says 20 minutes of deep meditation will give you 5 hours of deep sleep. So that is the energy that you get, and if you don't utilize it, then that will create a problem for you.
Great. So I want to add something on a lighter note, specifically that usually we have CCTV cameras installed at our homes and we want to protect ourselves from theft, but Gurbani also says something about this, ki the theft is constantly happening from within you. Okay, the 5 vikars or the 5 obstacles which are, they are constantly stealing away your peace of mind through the lust or through greed or through attachment or through anger. It's constantly happening. So how do you manage the theft that is happening inside? So I think mindfulness is the answer to installing those internal CCTV cameras where you can actually view everything that is going on in your mind, and then once you find out that there is something wrong which is going on, and then you can take corrective step towards it. Great.
Very well said.
Great. So last question I want to ask you, Shashank, about mindfulness is that anything, see again, whenever we talk about yoga or spirituality or all of these things, the gurus and the great prophets, they have to always told that when people practice meditation or mindfulness or they get more mindful, there are some things which they have to keep in mind specifically. Okay, maybe the do's and don'ts. I'm not talking about the strict rules as such, but maybe something which they have to be aware of when they are getting into this practice of mindfulness. Any such suggestion from you for people who want to start the practice of mindfulness?
I do not have any suggestions, because then again that will be a big botheration for you. So just start and you will see the magic, and automatically whatever I want to suggest will just start leaving you. So let's make that a process rather than just me telling you what to do, what not to do. Let's find your own path.
Amazing. So there is no do's and don'ts or nothing, and anyone who wants to start meditation or mindfulness anytime can just start it.
You know, that's the beauty of it. If you want to play cricket, you need to have a bat, you need to have a ball, right? But when it comes to mindfulness, you just need to download this app or get a guru, and then that's it. You have to just sit and meditate. That's it. It's so simple. Simplicity is something that spirituality and meditation brings in your life. Many a times we think spirituality is bringing more complexities, but spirituality basically simplifies your life. See, what meditation promotes is simple eating. Okay, raw fruits. It's preferable to eat raw fruits. Simple eating, simple living is what meditation promotes. So it simplifies your life. Who will go into the mess of which clothes should I wear on this day, which blazer should I wear on that day, etc., etc. Isn't it a problem for you as well? Absolutely, right? So meditation simplifies your life.
Great. So one takeaway from Shashank is that mindfulness or meditation is not ritualistic. Okay, it's not following certain rituals and all. Sometimes rituals do get you into that zone or that vibe, but all the time rituals are going to make you more anxious and maybe even promote a lot of guilt inside you. So it's better to start your practice in mindfulness. Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, I like to share NLP technique, which is called as association. So which basically means any point of time you're feeling a little stressed and you really want to calm your senses. Suppose you have an event or a particular meeting. 2 minutes before that, you can try this trick. So it's called associate with all your 5 senses. Just sit very comfortably in a whatever position you are. Yeah, just take a small posture. Simply rest yourself. See what you see. Hear what you hear. Touch, that is perceive whatever you're touching. Associate to the senses. Even the smell, the tongue. Taste what you're tasting. So and smell what you're smelling. So those for 2 minutes you practice this. Experience all those 5 senses, and this. Do it for 2 minutes, and any particular event, your anxiety will drop. It will certainly.
Great. Yes, Prashant.
Yeah, and I would like to add one point over here. So if in case anybody wants to do anything, there's something called as willingness. So I think their only suggestion will be that your willingness, start doing it. That you just have to start doing it. Don't think what will happen, क्या होगा, किसने क्या बोला, क्या सोचना है. नहीं, your willingness, just start doing it, and you will see the difference.
Great. Anything from you, Abhitya?
No, that's it. This has been a very insightful session for me as well. I have been a silent
spectator. It was a wonderful
throughout.
conversation.
Yes.
Splendid indeed.
Splendid.
So I just want to take 2 minutes to just introduce you to a very small concept, and then we'll end it with a short story by Shashank. Okay. So usually when I think Priyanka told this technique about NLP and getting back to your senses, there is a concept always which is of the conscious and the subconscious mind, or I usually will not call it subconscious, I'll call it an unconscious mind, because we do a lot of things which we are not aware of, and we get the awareness later on. Like just I get this stress, and someone who is a smoker, he'll just smoke the cigarette, and immediately after, this was my 3rd cigarette, or this was my 4th cigarette, or the 10th cigarette. So it happened unconsciously. Now usually when we think about unconscious person, is a person who is lying down here and he's not responding to anything. Okay, how do we bring back that person to consciousness? If you see, even in the movies you saw that you will sprinkle water on the person, you will shout loudly in his ears, or you will give the person something to smell or something in his mouth. So all the senses bring you back to consciousness. And when I was in school, and specifically it was a very lazy lecture, and I did not really like the lecture, and I felt asleep during the lecture. So the only way to get me back to consciousness was the teacher throwing the duster or the chalk on me. So I think those senses and the loud, it's like first, Gurpreet, can you just pay attention, and then the next is the chalk and the duster. So I think senses play a really very important role in getting you back to awareness, and going wherever you go, and plants around you, and there is some aroma around you, pay attention to those aroma, to those plants, so that you get back to the senses. So we'll end by a very short story by Shashank sir. Usually it's spiritual and connecting in nature, so let's get started.
Before I tell you the story, adding on to what Gurpreet, our Indian housewives are masters of getting their children back to awareness. You all have heard, right? Flying chappal received. That is how I think senses can be related to being here in the moment. Yes. Great. So thank you, Gurpreet, for giving me the opportunity to actually tell you all a story. So today's story is about the 4 wives. Okay, 4 wives. This is quite an interesting story which I had recently seen. So a king, there is one very established king, and he has a lot of goodwill in the entire village, in his entire city. Everyone respects him. Everyone loves him. But since all the good stories have a twist to it, this story also has a small twist. So everyone is loving the king. The king is he's a very righteous king. He has always done the good stuff for the entire people. But sadly, the king gets to know from his doctors, etc., that he has very few days left to live. This shatters the king. He thinks, I have only a limited amount of time left. But in this entire journey of life, I have done so many good things to so many people. So I'm sure I will find someone to go along with me. Poor king, he didn't know what is waiting for him. So he decides to ask his wives. So he had 4 wives. He decides to ask his wives that would they accompany him after death. His 4th wife is the wife he used to love the most. The 4th wife, he used to give her a lot of diamonds, give her a lot of ornaments, give her a lot of new clothes, etc. And the 4th wife says, sorry, I can't do it, and walks away. The king is shattered. Already he is suffering from such a big pain that he is going to die in a few days, and the one whom he so loves the most says, no, I can't be with you. After a few hours, he brings in that courage again to ask his 3rd wife to come along with him. He says, oh my dear wife, as you know, I'm going to die. I want someone to accompany me after death. The 3rd wife says, my dear king, it's not possible for me to come along with you, but I will definitely make sure that I am taking care of the last rites, etc. Shattered, broken into pieces. The king has lost almost all of his courage. He doesn't know what to do. But he again brings up that courage and asks his 2nd wife, my dear, would you come along with me after death? The 2nd wife says, oh my dear king, though I love you a lot, but it is not possible for me to come along with you. I will also make sure that I am taking care of the last rites and being there. The king is shattered. He has no options left. All his life he has loved all these 3 wives of his, and the 1st wife, whom he has never even thought of, never even given any attention to, slowly says, oh my dear king, I will come along with you. This is the story, but this is happening in our lives on a very daily basis. The fourth wife resembles our body. We try to decorate our body with various kinds of ornaments, with various kinds of clothes, but in the end, it will not come along with you. The third wife is your possessions, all the properties that you have, all the money that you have. What's the use? It's all baggage in the end. The second wife resembles your friends and family. Though they love you a lot, but they will not come along with you. They can only take care of the last rites. And the first wife, the most ignored wife, is your consciousness. It's calling you on a daily basis, but are you actually listening to it? So I would like to leave you all with this question. Are you really listening to your consciousness, the first wife? Because remember, once the last moments come, all the three wives might leave you, but the first wife will not. So be aware of it. That is it. Thank you so much, Gurpreet.
Amazing. So ending this video with a very big question that you need to ask yourself, that how much attention are you paying to your first wife, and that is your soul, your prana, your consciousness, and what are you actually doing for your first wife, that is your consciousness. And this question will give you lot of answers within you, and that will help you start your journey towards mindfulness or meditation. So we are thankful to everyone, especially Shashank and Priyanka and Basharat and Abhyuday for being part of this discussion. Amazing session and lovely discussion with everyone. So we'll meet you in another video of Life Coach. Until then, keep watching and take care. Bye bye.